السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. نكمل إن شاء الله تعالى. We continue with الروض المربع, and we reached page number 29 in the أوقات الصلاة, in the times of the Salah as part of the conditions of the Salah. And he says here وتدرك الصلاة, وتدرك الصلاة. That means the salah is attained or the salah is made, and this is al-idrak, is to attain something, is to do something, and to be in state of, that means you're doing the act before it's too late. But here he says in the sharh, ada'an. Ada'an, that means it's not qada'an. There's ada' and there's qada'. The ada' that means on time. إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا. Salah is upon the believers on a fixed times. So he says وتدرك الصلاة أداء بإدراك تكبيرة الإحرام في وقتها. By the إدراك, by attaining تكبيرة الإحرام, and تكبيرة الإحرام is the first takbir of the Salah, the one that starts the Salah, في وقتها, in its time, as the times mentioned before. So in the Zad he says وتدرك الصلاة بالإحرام في وقتها. That means بتكبيرة الإحرام in its time. He says فإذا كبر للإحرام قبل طلوع الشمس أو غروبها كانت كلها أداء. He says if he كبر, if he make takbir to الإحرام of the Salah before sunrise and before the sunset, كانت كلها أداء. That means Fajr time and Asr time, then it's أداء. It's not qada, because he said Allahu Akbar before the sunrise. Even the rest of the Salah was after the sun had risen, and the same thing for Asr. But he started the Salah before the sunrise. That means he made it for the Salah. That means أداء. He says حتى ولو كان التأخير لغير عذر, even if delaying the Salah was without a valid reason, an excuse. لكنه آثم. Of course he is آثم, he is sinful. So that doesn't mean that it's permissible, it's sinful. If there is no excuse why it's late. But here the fuqaha, they're looking into the idrak versus ada versus qada. The ithm, the sin, this is also something to be known. So as long as he made it for takbiratul ihram, not an entire rak'ah, but only takbiratul ihram is sufficient. وكذا وقت الجمعة يدرك بتكبيرة الإحرام. And the same thing with the time of Jumu'ah, يدرك, it's to be made by تكبيرة الإحرام, and it will come in the subject of الجمعة. ولا يصلي, in the Zad says ولا يصلي قبل غلبة ظنه بدخول وقتها. And there's ways to establish that. ولا يصلي, which is here the issue with the time, and when does it valid for a person if a person is in doubt whether the time for the Salah entered or not. He says ولا يصلي من جهل الوقت, the one that does not know the waqt, the time. He does not know if it's time of dhuhr or not, for example. لا يصلي, then he is not to make Salah if he doesn't know if the time entered or not. ولم تمكنه مشاهدة الدلائل, and he did not have the ability to see the dalail, the evidences, as if, for example, he's in a closed room, he's not able to see whether it's dhuhr time or asr or anything. Did not hear the adhan, does not have any means to know the salah time starts. He says قبل غلبة ظنه, ولا يصلي قبل غلبة ظنه. He is not to make the salah before it's غلبة الظن, is a level less than the yaqeen, than the certainty. That means it's more likely. That means it is time, but without necessarily having to swear by Allah that it's already is the time for the salah. بدخول وقتها, for the time of it to enter. And that is إما باجتهاد, either with اجتهاد, with taking the means. اجتهاد is a word that can give many different meanings. It depends on the context of things. So putting the effort. So putting the effort to see what time is the salah time entered or not, by asking, by checking the evidences, by looking at the times, things like this. وَنَظَرٍ فِي الْأَدِلَّةِ, another looking into the evidences of that proves the time of the salah started or not. أو له صنعة وجرت عادته بعمل شيء مقدر إلى وقت الصلاة. Or he has صنعة, he has an ability to do something. He is a profession of some sort, and a صنعة is a profession. Something that he is good at, he does it for living or so. وجرت عادته, and it's been his habit, his way has been in such a way, بعمل شيء مقدر إلى وقت الصلاة, that he would do something and it's repeated every day. He knows that once he finishes this thing that he is doing, then it's the time for the salah. For example, someone that would, he has sana, he's a carpenter, for example. He knows that if he put so many logs on a ceiling, for example, when every day he works on ceilings, he knows that takes, once he finishes that, he starts at a certain time in the middle of the day, for example. He doesn't have any watch or doesn't have any means, but he knows that once he finishes, he knows that this is the time of Dhuhr had already started. Something like this. or شيء مقدر. Also, his عادة is in such a way, his habit is that he reads something measured. He knows that if he reads how many pages, then it's time for the next salah. All of that is just basically in the sharh saying that there are more evidences that can gives غلبة ظن, that the person would say that it's more likely than it's the time for the salah. And then he acts upon غلبة الظن, what's more likely, with these types of evidences and more. ويستحب له التأخير حتى يتيقن, and of course it's recommended for him to delay till he has yaqeen, till he has certainty. So all these things before, it's not the level of certainty, but it gives him the level of غلبة الظن. or بخبر ثقة متيقن, or the khabar is the information, is the news of someone that is ثقة, someone that is trustworthy, متيقن, he is certain. So someone else other than the person that the salah is obligated upon. كأن يقول, like someone would say, رأيت الفجر طالعة. Someone that is trustworthy, he says with certainty, I saw the fajr. I saw the fajr طالعا, apparent, clear. أو الشفق غائبا, and I saw the shafaq, the light in the horizon, disappeared. That means it's time for Isha. He saw it. ونحوه, and the like of this. فإن أخبر عن ظن, but if he informs from ظن, from not with yaqeen, not with certainty, but with less than certainty, he's not sure. This is ظن, thinking, expecting. Like instead of saying رأيت الفجر طالعا, he says, I think it might be now time for Fajr. I saw something. So it means he's not certain. Then if that's the case, لم يعمل بخبره, not to act upon such an information of a person that is guessing, not someone with certainty. ويعمل بأذان ثقة عارف, and also to act upon adhan of someone that is ثقة, someone that is trustworthy, عارف, he knows the adhan. So it's not required for every single person to have certainty that the time for the salah entered. And that's why if the adhan is called, the adhan is called. Especially when it's someone, as he says, adhan ثقة عارف, or he asks someone, and all of these meanings. With regards to the beginning of them as part of knowing the time of the salah. He says, فَإِنْ أَحْرَمَ بِاجْتِهَادٍ. Now mas'ala. If he made ihram with all of what's mentioned before, he put the effort, he asked, someone said like this, and he made ihram of the salah, he said Allahu Akbar, and he started the salah. باجتهاد, not with يقين, باجتهاد. He made اجتهاد and there's no other evidences to him. بأن غلب على ظني دخول الوقت لدليل مما تقدم. That means it's more likely that the time started according to him with an evidence of what's mentioned before. فبان إحرامه قبله. فبان, bana, that means becomes clear. His ihram was before the time of the salah. Bana means becomes clear to him. فصلاته نفل. Therefore his salah is nafl and not fard. لأنها لم تجب, because the fard is not wajib yet, because it did not start yet. ويعيد فرضه, and he has to repeat his fard salah. So again, it's very easy to understand if someone took the means. That's why if someone is not sure if the time started or not, he has to take the means. He has to put some effort, asking, checking, like this. But if he does this and then during the salah or after the salah is finished, he realized that the time of the salah didn't start yet. So in that case, the salah, if he is in the salah and he realized that, then he makes his intention nafl. And he continues the salah and then he makes the fard salah. Or he finishes it with the intention of fard, he did know till after. Then whatever he prayed is nafl and he has to repeat the fard because it did not start yet. He says, وَإِلَّا يَتَبَيَّن لَهُ الْحَالِ أو ظهر أنه في الوقت, or except that the matter becomes clear to him or it becomes clear that he's in the time, فصلاته فرض وإلا فرض. That means otherwise it's فرض. So فإن أحرم باجتهاد فبان قبله فنفل وإلا فرض وإلا ففرض. Otherwise it's فرض because he made the ijtihad. When he made the ijtihad, he was not certain, but it looks to him that this is the time for the salah, and he took the means as mentioned before, asked, he had a san'a, he had a portion that he reads, it's more likely now it's Salatul Maghrib, for example. So he made the salah, then after that it becomes clear to him that it was true. He made it during the time, that means it's fard. Or even if he was not sure, it's still fard. It's only if it's become clear to him that he prayed before the time. He says, وَلَا إِعَادَةَ عَلَيْهِ لِأَنَّ الْأَصْلَ بَرَاءَةُ ذِمَّتِهِ. In that case, there's no repetition. He does not repeat the salah because the qaida here, the asl, the foundation of things is bara'atu dhimma, that a person finished his obligations. He's not responsible. There's nothing upon him of the fard. And the salah is haqqullah tabaraka wa ta'ala. It's the right of Allah. And it's an obligation. So once a person does it, he fulfilled the obligation. And in that case, as mentioned before, with matters of ijtihad, and he prayed, and it's fard, and no repetition for him in this case. ويعيد الأعمى العاجز مطلقا إن لم يجد من يقلده. But here he says the أعمى al-ajiz, the one that is blind and is having inability, is to repeat the salah in this case, period. Why? Because there's no means for him to make ijtihad. إِلَّمْ يَجِدْ مَنْ يُقَلِّدُ, unless he finds something to follow him, to imitate him. So that means if it becomes clear to him that this was the time for the salah. He says, وَإِنْ أَدْرَكَ مُكَلِّفٌ مِنْ وَقْتِهَا. وَإِنْ أَدْرَكَ مكلف, if a mukallaf أدرك, attained, من وقتها, from the time of the salah, أي وقت الفريضة, this is the وقت of the فريضة, of course, قدر التحريم, the portion of time of the تحريم, أي تكبيرة الإحرام, ثم زال تكليفه. Now this is here, someone was mukallaf, then he's not mukallaf anymore. For example, بنحو جنون, he became insane. He started the salah, and many of these examples might be rare to happen, but it's teaching us something with regards to the qawa'id and the principles for what these rulings come from. So, say for as a mas'ala, if someone said Allahu Akbar in the time of the salah, then he's not mukallaf anymore. ثم زال تكليفه بنحو جنون, like he become insane. أو أدرك الطاهر من الوقت قدر التحريم. Uh, because some of the books says طالق. So أدرك الطاهر من الوقت قدر التحريم. That means someone that is طاهر, someone that is pure, he attained from the time the portion of the tahrima. This is for a woman that is طاهر, that is pure. That means she's not in her menses. She said Allahu Akbar when she's not having her menses. ثم حاضت أو نفست. Then after she said Allahu Akbar and she started the salah, then the hayd came. The menses, the blood came of menses, or after, أو نفست, or the after birth bleeding. So if that's, now this is describing this mas'ala here. Started the salah when the person is mukallaf, and then during the salah something happens to make the person not mukallaf. And as we know that the ha'id, or the woman in her menses, she does not to make up the salah later because she's in haid. ثم كلف. يعني after that he becomes a mukallaf again. الذي كان زال تكليفه. He gained conscious. She finished her menses, her cycle. وطهرت الحائض أو النفساء, or the woman with menses or nifas, she becomes clean. قضوها. In this case, they would have to repeat that salah. They have to make قضاء of the salah. أي قضوا تلك الفريضة التي أدركوا من وقتها قدر التحريمة قبل. They have to make up the salah that they had the ability during the time al-waqt, the ability to say Allahu Akbar when they were in state of taklif. So basically, if the adhan of Asr was made, and a woman after the adhan of Asr, her menses started, then once she is clean from her menses, she has to make up that Salatul Asr, pray it. He says لأنها وجبت بدخول وقتها واستقرت, because it was wajib by the entering of the time of the salah, and it was established then. فلا تسقط بوجود المانع, does not then become in تسقط, that means not obligatory. السقوط is false. That means it does not then becomes not obligatory when there's a mana, or something that prevents the person from doing it. So the fact that the time started, then it's an obligation. It does not become something else if a person has inability to do it. Once it's that inability is removed, then is to repeat the salah. And the famous example here was with a woman in her menses. He says, وَمَنْ صَارَ أَهْلًا لِوُجُوبِهَا, and whoever becomes fit to its obligation. Now the opposite, someone بأن بلغ صبي, a child becomes baligh, becomes an adult during the time. أو أسلم كافر, or a disbeliever became a Muslim. أو أفاق مجنون, or someone insane gained conscious. أو طهرت حائض أو نفساء, or a woman in her menses or after birth bleeding, she becomes pure. قبل خروج وقتها, before the time of the salah finishes, ends. أي وقت الصلاة, بأن وجد ذلك قبل الغروب مثلا ولو بقدر تكبيرة. That this validity, then this state becomes right before sunset, even if it's the time of giving one takbir. So if a woman in her menses, she became pure 1 minute before Maghrib, right? Even though she did not make it for Salatul Maghrib, because she has to take a shower and clean and so on. If she does this, then it's going to miss the time. But still she has to make up salah because she was pure during the time of Asr. لزمته أي العصر, because she was clean before sunset. And that صبي became baligh, or the kafir became Muslim. وما يجمع إليها قبلها. Also here, according to the madhab, is not just the Asr, but also the dhuhr, which is usually made جمع if there is جمع. وما يجمع إليها قبلها وهي الظهر. So not just the asr, but also the dhuhr, because the dhuhr and asr they are combined for travel or for an excuse, and the same thing for maghrib and isha. وكذا لو كان ذلك قبل الفجر لزمته العشاء والمغرب. The same thing if it's before Fajr, the woman she was clean from her menses, then what's an obligation? Isha only? No, according to the madhab, Isha and Maghrib. So it's two salawat if it's within the time of Dhuhr and Asr, and within the time, of course, if it's before Asr, it's obvious she's just going to do Dhuhr and then Asr. But if it's the time of Asr, then she has to pray Dhuhr with it. If she was clean in the time of Isha, then she has to pray Maghrib also with it. لأن وقت الثانية وقت للأولى حال العذر. Where the Hanbalis they took that opinion, because the time of the second one, which is here Asr, is a time for the first one, also حال العذر, when there's an excuse. If someone is traveling or someone has a valid excuse to combine the salah, the time of Dhuhr is extended to the time of Asr. فإذا أدركه المعذور فكأنه أدرك وقته. So if the ma'zur, if the excused one attained it then at that time, then as if he prayed it on time. So this is where they get that from. And of course the other riwayah that it's only sufficient in that case to pray the salah of the time that the person zal al-udhr, or the excuse is removed in. So if a woman in her menses, she becomes clean before Fajr, right before Fajr, then she's only to pray Salatul Isha and nothing else, and not Maghrib. If she's clean before sunset, then she is only to pray Salatul Asr and not Dhuhr with it. This is another narration, and this is where the many of the ulama are upon. We'll stop here, inshallah. ويجب فورا. In a statement of saying ويجب فورا. Inshallah, hopefully we can give more time later, inshallah, for the durus, but we'll stop here, inshallah. So I'll read it one more time, inshallah, and see if you're everything's here in page 209. I will read it once, inshallah. We'll read the Zad first. He says, وَتُدْرَكُ الصَّلَاةُ بِالْإِحْرَامِ فِي وَقْتِهَا ولا يصلي قبل غلبة ظنه بدخول وقتها إما باجتهاد أو خبر متيقن. فإن أحرم باجتهاد فبان قبله فنفل وإلا ففرض. وإن أدرك مكلف من وقتها قدر التحريم ثم زال تكليفه أو حاضت ثم كلف أو حاضت ثم كلف وطهرت قضوها. ومن صار أهلا لوجوبها قبل خروج وقتها لزمته وما يجمع إليها قبلها. So hopefully this is clear, inshallah. If you have any questions, please go ahead, inshallah. What is the meaning of al-ajiz? Al-ajiz is the one that is not able to do something, having inability. Like someone that is handicapped, someone that is not able to do something. So this is what the word al-ajiz means. So now. Okay, there's could you please explain يعيد الأعمى العاجز مطلقا. Now if you see here, this in the مسألة of being informed. فإن أحرم باجتهاد فبان قبله فنفل وإلا ففرض. So if this is if a person make ihram of the salah with ijtihad, that means he's not certain, it's just with ijtihad. And here if someone had informed the person of the salah, This is a mas'ala with regards to the a'ma or to the blind, that this is, they need more than just the opinion that is not with certainty, because he's a'ma, he's not able to take the means to see when is the time of the salah, so that means he has to repeat the salah. This is where he meant by ويعيد الأعمى العاجز مطلقا إن لم يجد من يقلده. Either he has someone that he imitates and he follows, otherwise his inability to make ijtihad makes it, that the doubt is stronger. That means in that case he would have to make up the salah once he is certain that the salah entered. So why? Because he's not able to make the proper ijtihad. No. Allahu A'lam. This is what is meant here by this. If the blind person made ijtihad and intend to make qada when the yaqeen arrives, but would wind up missing the time, does he repeat? If he, according to these cases, then that means he has to repeat. So the issue of the blind here, then he's not able to know the beginning of the time. So it becomes obligatory for him to imitate someone that he trusts, from those who are able to see things. So if he prays without imitating someone, this is what is meant. That means he has to repeat the salah after it becomes certain to him that the salah time entered. And this is at all times. So whether he prayed after the time or before it, as this is what mutlaqan means. Because the a'ma, he has to imitate someone, since he cannot walk except with someone, or he has other means, of course. There's, for example, phones or alarms or something like this. So if he made ijtihad and as the question intended to make qada when the yaqeen arrives, but would wind up missing the time, yes, he has to repeat in this case. No. And he's a'ma and ajiz, not just a'ma. He's blind and he has inability to determine the beginning of the time, and he did not find anyone to follow. He has to make the salah, but then he has to repeat it because he did not have anyone that is valid for him to follow. طيب, barakallahu fikum. We'll continue inshallah ta'ala next time. And if things, usually with the masail of the fiqh, sometimes when you read it on your own, then things becomes not clear. So expect inshallah more questions, but hopefully inshallah it becomes clear inshallah. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.